Okay, all right. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you again for joining us today to the first 2021 forum. It has been some time because the last forum we had was the first week of December 2020. So to all of you again, Happy New Year and welcome back to the college. This is our second week of instruction. And you know, this is the open forum is something that I have been doing since my very first month at the college, and I intend to continue doing it every month because I do believe that it is important for me in the capacity of Interim Chancellor to share with the community as much information as I have to share and to also answer questions that you may have for me. And I am accompanied today, as usual, by the Vice Chancellors who will provide answers in case I do not have them for you. We also have with us today the Executive Director of Audit. And as you know, he has been working very hard since he got here. He has already done a study of the salaries of all administrators, which the board will review tomorrow and which I will make public on Friday. He is currently working on all the contractors who work at the college, who have worked at the college in the past several years. And hopefully that study should be ready by the end of February. And that too will be made public. When we're speaking of contractors, we will be talking of almost anybody that the college has paid who is not an official employee of the college. So that's the second thing that he's working on. And then following that, subsequent to that, there will be plenty of other areas that he will be looking into to ensure that the college is not misspending its money. You know, this year the motto for CCSF is CCSF moving you forward. And we believe in this, and we will continue working in that direction. Let me start by sharing some good news with you. You know, San Francisco City College is now the official first site for mass distribution of COVID-19 vaccine in the city and county of San Francisco. When Vice Chancellor John Alameen called me at 10 o'clock at night to say that the mayor was going live tomorrow and wanted a go-ahead from us whether we would participate in that and whether we would let the city use our parking lot, the MUB parking lot, I said, yes, we will, because this is for humanitarian reasons. We are here to help. We are a partner with City Hall. We want to be helpful in any manner that we could. So we immediately bypassed all process. I'm going to be the first one to say to you, because this was an emergency where the health of the citizens of the county and the city of San Francisco were at stake. And we said, yes, we would do it. And the very next day at 10 a.m., Mayor London Breed announced it in a press conference. And we have been partnering with them, and the site opened last week, and you all know. And we found out later on that they were not only going to use the parking lot, but also some classrooms in the building to store the equipment and some of the other things that they need to store. And we are very happy, and I want to acknowledge the work done by not only the Vice Chancellor, but I also want to recognize Sean Yee, who has been very helpful, and Interim Dean Noah Lystrup, who has been very helpful also. And I know that the city, or the group that is administering the vaccine, has asked the college to provide some names of some of our allied health students who might receive the vaccine in the evening or at the end of the day when there are vaccines left over. And for everybody else, I hope that you can all go online at the sf.gov/vaccine notify so that you can be notified when vaccines or your turn is up to receive a vaccine. As you all know, the mayor has made it very clear that all the residents of San Francisco will be vaccinated by the end of June. We also know that the stay-at-home order was lifted on Monday, but this doesn't mean that it's business as usual. I can't ask the administrators to show up on campus 3 times a week as I was doing before, but we are monitoring the situation very carefully, and we do believe that perhaps in the next couple of months or so, the situation might get better, and you will start seeing administrators back on campus. Because we do believe that it is important, if we're an institution of higher learning, that administrators are present on campus to provide whatever support we should be able to provide to the college community, that is the faculty, staff, and students, mostly students, especially those who need our help the most. I can't thank faculty enough for the work that they've been doing, working remotely. As a matter of fact, many of you, the majority of you, but as I've said that before, have not taught online, and it was a real learning experience for everybody. And again, I thank you for that. Another piece of good news, well, you're all familiar with the Strong Workforce Program that started under Governor Brown, where billions of dollars were made available to the community college system to provide as much support as we could to rebuild the economy of California and to help promote workforce development. And there are, I believe, 7 or 8 regions across the state, and each region has many colleges working together so that we don't duplicate effort, that we do not waste taxpayers' money, and that we support one another and work together to promote those programs that will put students in the classroom. And our share of money for this year is somewhere around $4.1 million. And this process has gone through for this year, the process has gone through our own system here at the college. And the plan will be taken to the board for full approval at the Board of Trustees meeting in February. Let's get into registration right now. I'll share some of the information that I have on registration with you. As you know, we are not the only school that is going through that, but the majority of community colleges in California are having difficulty getting students, and our numbers are not that great. If we compare our enrollment this spring semester, if we were to compare it with spring 2020, we are down by 11.25% for credit courses. But for non-credit courses, we are down 46.69%. That's a huge drop. And all combined, we are down about 23% or so. This is a major problem for City College of San Francisco. That drop by itself, if we were not on the whole harmless, where we are getting compensated on roughly 22,300 full-time equivalent students, that includes both credit and non-credit, will be a lost income of $25 million. You all know, you've seen our budget for this year, where we had to take $21 million from our trust fund, the retiree trust fund, to balance the budget. Picture for a second that if we were being compensated, if our apportionment came from our enrollment, we would be needing another $25 million. And I don't know where we were going to turn to get that amount of money. It's not an easy thing. It's not something that we planned for, but this is where we are. And you all know that our enrollment numbers have been going down since 2011 or so. And that started with the accreditation problem that we had at that time, and the numbers have been going down. And the college has done a lot over the years to try to increase the enrollment. Schedules were bigger, hoping that students would come. A few years ago, the schedule was set for about 25,000 full-time equivalent students, but the student didn't show up. In fact, the enrollment was about 200 FTEs lower than it was the previous year. So the time has come for the college to look at itself seriously. Because if it is going to continue doing business, there must be some major changes happen. I mean, I was thinking about that today, and I was thinking about sometimes you may have a toothache, and you say, okay, I'm not going to take care of it. I'll just take some Tylenol and let the pain go away. And if you take Tylenol after Tylenol, the pain goes away. But nothing is being done to fix that tooth. And ultimately, you may even lose that tooth and cause even more bigger problem. So we will need to address that issue directly. And if we want to continue doing business as a successful institution for the next 85 years, we are working very hard. As you know, the board approved the multi-year budget and enrollment plan at the November board meeting. It was a unanimous approval of that plan, and the board had instructed administration to start the implementation process for that plan. Subsequently, we've been working together. Administration has been looking at some of the steps that administration, working with our whole college community, should be taking to fix that, so that by the time we come off the hold harmless, starting the academic year 24-25, we will have a healthy reserve. We will be able to balance the budget and continue in providing support to our students and do the work for which we are in existence, that is, serve the students of this community. These are not easy things to do. These are very difficult things to do. And working together as a team, we should be able to succeed in writing the college, moving in a direction that will help us better serve our community. You all know that last Friday, an email went out to everybody. And that email mentioned the fact that every full-time faculty member should review their seniority on that list that HR has for every full-time faculty member. So it is important that you review that and that you provide any information that you think is incorrect, that you provide the correct information to HR so that your ranking and that list can be verified and confirmed. HR will review all the documents, and at the next forum, we will be providing you with additional information. To continue with some of the other things happening at the college, Friday of last week, or maybe I think it was the week before, accompanied by Senate President Dr. Simon Hansen, Deputy Chancellor Gonzalez, and Vice Chancellor Tombogel, I addressed the Accrediting Commission for Community and Junior Colleges to explain to them what we have been doing as an institution to address our financial issues and how we take this very seriously and how it is our intention to have an institution that is fiscally solvent. And I ended up by asking them to remove that shroud of enhanced monitoring that is over us. It is not appropriate for us as an institution of higher learning, for the pride that we have in the work that we do for our students, It is not appropriate that we, starting fall of next year, fall of this year, I should say, will be going into our self-study with that cloud of enhanced monitoring over us. It is important that this shroud be lifted, because when we have that shroud over us, it's a red flag for the visiting team. It is not the right thing to happen to us. So hopefully, when the commission meets, I believe this week, to vote on all the matters, our college will come out with flying colors and that this will be lifted. We will find out sometime next week or the week after next where we stand in that. The problem is that if it is not lifted, you have 18 months to address that issue. That's not a fun period of time, because I have gone through that in a few other institutions where I was the chief executive officer. And I do hope that we will succeed here as well. And you know that the state has made it very clear for the reporting of COVID-19 protocol that all infections must be reported within 24 hours. Employees must report if they are positive to HR, and they immediately have to quarantine themselves for 14 days. And students who test positive and are part of in-person cohorts or programs must go into quarantine immediately for 14 days, as well as any other students from the same cohort who are in contact with the infected student. And we have to inform the city and the state of that. And what is also important is that if we have 3 cases happening at the same time, that's an outbreak. It doesn't matter how big or how small your organization is. If you have 3 cases, it is an outbreak, and then additional safety instructions must be followed. We have to be thankful that so far we have had no outbreak at CCSF. This spring, we have slightly more classes that are meeting on campus. We have in-person or curbside pickup. We have classes in athletics, city build, allied health, administration of justice, cinema, culinary arts, dental assisting, environmental horticulture and floristry, human resources, LVN, photography, diagnostic medical imaging, registered nursing, theater arts, healthcare technology, visual and creative arts are all programs that are either meeting in person or are going through what we call curbside pickup. That is where they would come to the college once in a while and pick up materials and so on. And that's what we're doing right now. Tom, you want to add anything about that curbside pickup for some of those classes?
Nothing terribly in particular. We, I just want to thank the Lowell Jones Bay and our colleagues at facilities and human resources in working together in putting this together. We've had some, I think it's been a little bit of an easier start of the semester than we had last semester. We are, we're getting good at this. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. And some of the other services we are providing, the Rosenberg Library is available, is open for contactless pickup and delivery. Non-credit and ESL limited in-person registration taking place at Ocean, Mission, Chinatown, North Beach, Downtown, Evans, and John Adams Centers. Student health services, including flu clinic shot at Ocean Campus. We are continuing with the distribution of Chromebook loan program and also hotspots for students who need them, and also the food card program. In that case here, it exceeded our supply by over 1,000 applicants. And we will be working on finding a solution for that. As far as technology at the college is concerned, you know that we have a very old system. And we've hired an associate vice chancellor in Ellen Rice. And I want to thank her for the work that she has done. You perhaps may have noticed that this spring semester, we have had I would say, significantly smoother registration process. I am monitoring very closely with the vice chancellors the number of complaints that we are receiving from faculty, staff, students, and everybody who is using our system. And I must say that the numbers are significantly down. But we still have a lot more to do. And we have to figure out where we're going to find the necessary resources to have a system that can deliver the type of service that most of you have shared with me students are getting in other districts. So rest assured, we are working on a plan, and we will figure out how much it costs, and we are going to see if we can make that money available from the bond funds to ensure that the students who come to CCSM can have the same type of experience that their friends are having in some of the other surrounding districts. I mentioned to you that the system is ancient, is old, and we are trying to do our best to fix it. And there will be multiple, I'm trying to think of maybe uploading, reloading, migration, and this and that to better serve our students. And we have about 14 systems that will be going down, but then will be coming back up on weekends, where upgrades will be taking place to better, so that we can have a more functional system at the college. At the same time as we're doing all that, we're also doing the best we can to improve the student website experience. The Web Advisory Committee has as one of its main goals to close the equity gap and improve the navigation and website experience for our students. So we are moving in the direction of activating templates for consistency of content on our website. The search feature will be improved so that not only programs appear when students do a search. The Google search will also be integrated as a search capability in the system. And our newly hired Director of Public and Government Relations, Ms. Rosie Zepeda, is working very hard to make that happen. And as you can see, there have been some streamlined college communications lately, and the experiences, the user experience should be improved with city notes, COVID updates, and some of the other communications that you're getting from her. I believe earlier this week, there was a new program started called College Spotlights. And that's another quick read where college faculty, staff, and students are highlighted for some of the things that they do. An update on the Diego Rivera mural and the construction of the DRT. Those of you who attended the subcommittee of the board today, the facilities subcommittee of the board, those of you who attended that meeting, you heard that that committee is going to recommend to the full board for the February meeting that the college move forward with a 77,000 square foot building for the Diego Rivera Theater. Is that correct, Vice Chancellor John Alameen?
That is correct, sir.
Yeah, so that's what the subcommittee of the board is recommending for the full board to approve at the February board meeting. So college administration will be working hard on that to make sure that we have the appropriate presentation to the board. And also, administration will be submitting to the board at the February meeting the company that will be replacing McCarthy to finish the design of the building so that we can finish the building within the timeline. And when the Diego Rivera mural completes its tour at MoMA and comes back to the college, we will be ready to accommodate it. More information on that will be provided at the March forum. And finally, an update on the Chancellor search. Tomorrow, the board will get to hear from Dr. Helen Benjamin, the person who was hired to do the recruitment, on some of the priorities that will be included in the job description. And also tomorrow, the board will see for the first time, a first reading of the board policy on the hiring of a chancellor. There will be another special board meeting on February 11, when the board will approve the board policy. The board also will approve the final job description, the brochure and everything. And the position will be live on February 15. So, and hopefully if everything goes to plan, the board will get to approve the permanent chancellor at the April board meeting. This concludes what I had to share with you, and I will be very happy to answer questions that you might have, and staff, the Deputy Chancellor, the Vice Chancellors, and the Director of PR, and the Director of Audit are all here to answer questions that you might have. All right. Sean, questions?
All right, thank you, Chancellor Vurdien. So right now is the time of our program for any of our attendees in the audience. If you'd like to ask a question of the Chancellor, any of the Vice Chancellors here, please go ahead, click on the little icon on the bottom of your screen that says raise hand. Once you raise your hand, we'll put you in the queue. I will unmute you and you'll be able to ask your question of the Chancellor or anyone else here on the panel. So go ahead. This is the time for you to have your voice heard and ask a question. All right, I see one hand now. Blanca, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Hello, Chancellor and everyone. My name is Blanca Ponce. I work at the Child Development Department in the preschool, in the bungalows behind the library and next to the football field. So we were informed that the transformers went out, and we were wondering if we could get an update on the replacement date. Would it be by the end of this semester or summer semester?
Vice Chancellor Alami?
Sure. Hey, nice to meet you, Blanca, virtually. We are working on getting the transformer replaced. We're looking for bids now. Hopefully we'll be able to get this done, completed within the next month or so, but we do have to go out to bid on different vendors in order to get it replaced, but the replacement is currently in progress. So it should be done this semester.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Blanca. All right, any other hands for those that have a question to ask? I actually see one here in the Q&A. Let's go. Here's a question from Michael Snyder. Is the federal government providing any money to community colleges across the nation? I'm sure enrollment across the country has dropped, and it's not just California. I think maybe Vice Chancellor Alameen, you could handle this one.
Certainly. The federal government, as part of the CARES Act, has provided institutions, both community colleges and other four-year institutions, with a lot of one-time funding, but it's specifically related to deal with the COVID response. There are certain requirements for it, but a lot of the funding that they've funneled thus far is to help us and mainly to help students and to provide direct student aid. So there has been some funding long-term, but there has been no funding specifically to help colleges or any other educational entity deal with the loss of enrollment long-term, only for one term in a.
All right, thank you, Vice Chancellor Alameen. We have a hand from Carol. Carol, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So this question is for Chancellor Vurdien. And this is a question I always ask my students at the end of the semester. And as you're kind of winding down your time here at City College, my two questions for you are this. What has been your biggest surprise? And what has been the most important thing you've learned?
The biggest surprise that I had when I came to City College?
Yes.
Well, I must say, I did not realize that City College had such a huge drop in enrollment. And that, to me, was the biggest surprise, because I know enrollment was down across the state, but I did not think it was down at that significantly as it was here. So that was one of the biggest surprises I had when I came here.
Okay.
And the second part of your question was, what was
the most important thing you learned?
From my stay here at City College?
Yeah.
It is not easy to conduct business when you can't meet people. It is it is impossible to really do business, to understand what you are doing and how to fix problems that you have. It is a big problem. That was the thing that I learned. That learning, I can't do business like I would always do.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Carol. Let's see, any other hands out there? Don't be shy. This is the opportunity for you to ask your questions, have your voice heard. Let's see, next up we have Harry Bernstein. Harry, go ahead and unmute yourself there.
Okay, I'm unmutable. Yes, hello everybody. We see some new faces there. I just want to make a comment first about the Balboa Reservoir project, which is behind us, but then related to something that's going on right now. Chancellor, this was before your time. It was, but you know, it was a project to have almost a new city on the west end of the Balboa Reservoir property. It's been used 60 years for parking for City College, but it'll be privatized to bring in 1,100 units of housing. It was so important for the city, including the planning department, real estate department, Department of Economic and Workforce Development, Public Utilities Commission, and the developer to arrange for sale of public land to a private developer, and they were successful, that they facilitated that by having City College meetings, private meetings that went on starting at least in 2015 and continued, I think, through the year before last. And they didn't micromanage, but they observed closely all the public meetings related to City College, and then they strategized about how they could turn things in their favor. So it worked. It was a successful strategy. So that sort of thing is going on now about 1550 Evans, which you know is a proposed new site for a facility. I believe you're going to talk about that tonight at the Southeast Community Facility Commission meeting. There's a very active young man from the PUC, and he's spoken not only with Deputy Chancellor Gonzalez, Vice Chancellor Vogel, he's spoken to you shortly after you arrived here, spoke with people involved in facilities, AVC Vasquez and Torrance Bynum. He spoke to just about everybody who might, I believe he spoke to the CFO within 2 weeks of his coming here. So I wonder what's going on, if you or any of the other people Mr. Verscher spoke to would like to address that. I know that
right.
On the 24th of September, just one last thing. Shaman Walton came to the Board of Trustees and said he wanted the City College to confirm $34.5 million that had been committed by Chancellor Rocha. And they're coming again tomorrow night. It's going to be a big production.
Let me answer that question for you.
Mr. Verscher arranged that, and Leslie Malloy thanked him very much for that. Had a big impact.
Let me answer that question for you.
Yeah.
Tonight at the Southeast Commission, I will not be talking about 1550 Evans. That agenda item has been corrected and will be corrected one more time tonight.
Could it be
at the Southeast Commission tonight? That's what is written on the agenda, but that's not the case. That has already been cleared. It's not going to happen.
Could you have Rosie post that, please, on the chat? What your topic will be, or you can say
the topic for tonight is just an introduction of the interim chancellor and his senior staff. That presentation that you're referring to will be at the March commission meeting. That will be at the end of March. That's when this will take place. The board will be voting, not voting exactly, but the board will be discussing in open session of the Board of Trustees of City College of San Francisco will be discussing in open session at the March board meeting the project that will be funded with the bond money. That's all I can say to you right now. And that the March meeting for the commission at which we will be is on March 24th.
But are you saying that are you talking about 1550 Evans?
1550 Evans, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank
you. Okay.
If anybody else wants to address that, Mr. Verscher, that would be great.
That's all there is to say on that.
No, he's a very busy man. So.
All right. Thank you, Harry. Anyone else that has a question that would like to ask before today? Any hands out there? We don't see any other hands. We might do a last call. Going, gone. All right. Seeing none, Chancellor Vurdien, I'll hand it back over to you.
Well, thank you again. Thank you, everybody, for this opportunity to meet with you and share with you some of the things happening at the college. Thank you for taking the time to join us, and plan to join us again in February, on February 24th at 2 p.m. We will have another meeting of this Chancellor's Open Forum. Again, thank you for being here today. Thank you.